Hi again, it's Ron Pazinski, President of Concare. In our last segment, we discussed new concrete and the things that we need to be aware of when evaluating it for concrete toppings or finishes. Now we want to talk about existing concrete. And in many respects, existing concrete slabs represent a whole much bigger picture of issues that we need to address. There are at least 6 criteria that we need to evaluate when we're talking about existing concrete. First of all is any evidence of moisture. Now you'll remember we talked about moisture in new concrete, but you can have slabs that could be 30, 40 years old that have a moisture condition in them still and may have a lot of moisture in the slab. Things that you want to look for when you're considering that are, for example, if you have tile or carpet and the carpet or the tile is buckled and underneath it might be a little bit damp, that's one good indicator. If you have coatings or finishes on the concrete and they have little bubbles or little blisters it might look like in them, that might be another indicator, especially if there's water when you press on or open those little blisters up. So you definitely want to know if there's moisture present in an existing slab, the same way you needed to know it in a brand new slab. The second thing we want to consider is there any chemical exposure to the concrete? Have you had acids, animal fats, any kind of caustics, any kind of solvents, things of that kind that may have penetrated into the concrete and may have some residues left behind that need to be addressed. So chemical exposure, chemical attack over many years is the second thing that needs to be evaluated. The third criteria is the type of traffic that facility has had. You may go into a building and notice that there are ruts or worn areas in all the main traffic lanes, and maybe in another building there's none of that. It may have been strictly foot traffic. So you want to understand what the level of traffic conditions have been and how that's impacted the original concrete slab. The fourth criteria to evaluate is whether or not that surface has been exposed to a lot of heat or cold. Has it been in a hot environment? Has it been under a freezer, for example? You can have some issues with concrete that have occurred over time as a result of high temperature exposures. The next criteria you want to look at is whether there's any existing coating or any sort of a film, any sort of a paint, anything like that on the surface, and what that might do in terms of applying something new to that concrete. And the last criteria we want to take a look at is deterioration. Are there cracks? Are there joints that have been damaged or broken out? Is there any kind of spalling? Is there any kind of spalling, meaning big chunks of concrete, having been removed? Is there any kind of scaling of the surface, which is the surface, the top, let's call it 1/8 of an inch, coming loose from the concrete? If you have any of those kinds of issues, you definitely want to consider those before making a selection of how to treat that concrete to get the maximum benefit out of it over a long period of time.